Today we're going to talk about how important it is for our body to be set up properly at foot strike in order to take ground reaction forces into our front leg and set off a sequence of mechanisms from the lower half up through the core and into the arm in order to ultimately help us create a more powerful position to throw from and possibly create better leverage on the ball at release. On the right, we have a high school senior, very athletic kid, topping out around 84 to 85. A key thing to take note of here is as the athlete gets to foot strike, a weak anterior core, among other things, is causing him to fall into lumbar extension, as we can see by this high arch of his lower back as he goes into layback. Generally, the lumbar region wants to remain stable. As we can see here with Greinke, he has not quite as big of an arch, and we can also see that he's throwing from a much more stable base of support with his anterior core, whereas on the right, this athlete is falling into letting his anterior core, letting him fall into this compensatory pattern, causing a little bit of a trunk tilt, which we'll get into in a minute. Another thing to notice, as he gets into this hyperextended position at foot strike, he seems to be driving his scapula down into a downwardly and depressed position. This can negatively affect upward rotation and cause the shoulder to be late to the show, negatively affecting timing in the throw, as well as inhibiting the rotator cuff to function in its true role as a dynamic stabilizer, which may lead to impingement issues later on in the game or season for that matter. And finally, we can see that these compensatory patterns are creating a pretty heavy trunk tilt at foot strike, affecting the athlete's position of the athlete's head and eyes towards his target. Many times these athletes compensate by cutting their balls off to the glove side instead of being able to backspin them there due to less than optimal arm and hand angles. To sum it up, all of these markers need to be working together to create a high velocity throw without overusing the arm. Failure to do so, as in this case, can set off a chain of events such as losses in velocity, poor command, as well as chronic back and/or shoulder pain.